Hello, my friends. I'm so grateful to you for being loyal listeners. Do you know why? Well, honestly, because that means you're really leaning into therapeutic parenting in order to heal the hurting hearts of your children while living a life you love at the same time. That's not a pipe dream. It's an attitude you can acquire on the journey to living your best life with children who have a hard time living well in your loving home. I'm C. Eshelman, your host for UnMuted Love. This is my very last podcast for 2025. Before I jump in, though, I want to make a quick public service announcement. Every year, just before the holidays, I go to my dermatologist for a full body cancer screening. That accounts for why I show up to holiday events with little red burn-like marks on my face and hands and body. This year is no exception. While I was there, my doctor told me he will retire before next year's end. So this is my last visit with him, he said. To this person, I owe a debt of gratitude. He has saved my life over and over and over again by detecting precancer on my skin every year when no other checkup did. Please add annual skin checks each year to your health regimen. You may be very grateful, like I am, that you did. So here we go. In my very first podcasts, I started with taking deep breaths together. I'm not sure why I stopped doing that, but we sure didn't stop needing it, did we? Let's take a couple of big regulating New Year's breaths together. Breathe in, hold it at the top, and then slowly let it out and hold it at the bottom. Oh, let's do that again. Breathe in, hold it at the top, let it out, hold it out. And now just gently breathe. Isn't that nice? Isn't that relaxing? When you do it in this sort of subtle, relaxing way, it brings regulation to your nervous system. Because there's a lot of noise around the new year. Oh yeah, I know, the fireworks and the darn firecrackers. My dogs are not grateful, let me just say that. But I mean the noise of new year, new you, fresh start, clean slate, resolutions. This is the year everything changes, we might be saying. And if you're parenting a child or two or three from difficult beginnings, that messaging can feel anywhere from plain laughable to kind of crushing. Because you're not starting fresh, are you? You're starting tired. You're starting with a child whose nervous system didn't reset just because the calendar flipped. You're starting with patterns that were wired long before you ever met your child. So let me say this out loud right now. If the new year feels heavy instead of hopeful, okay, honor your feelings, your truth. Nothing wrong with that. Today's episode is not about cheeky resolutions or exercising more or becoming a better parent. It's not about fixing yourself or fixing your child because none of us is broken. We're all figuring it out. Okay, so I did add a little annual skin check, but that's just self-care. It is about how many humans actually build lives they love and how that applies specifically to parents raising kids with trauma histories. Here's what philosophers, neuroscientists, and psychologists agree on. Across centuries and across discipline, this is what we know. Happiness is not a goal we achieve. It's a byproduct of a certain kind of, let's say, alignment. It's a kind of, I don't know, weird to say thing, I guess, because it's not all that juicy or sexy or anything. Well, I'm not trying to be juicy or sexy or cheeky. I am trying to be real with you, as real as I can be about what I believe. Here it is. I believe a life we love is built through relationship. Relationship with our own values, with our own personal nervous systems, with our own sense of self, our own limits and boundaries, our season of life. The happiest humans aren't the ones who change the most. They're the ones who fight reality the least. Let me say that again. The happiest humans aren't the ones who change the most. No, that's not it. They're the ones who fight reality the least. The happy ones are the ones who fight reality the least. This is where we parents of children from difficult beginnings get tripped up, I'm afraid. Because Western culture keeps saying, you should be further along by now. Your child isn't getting better. But trauma-impacted families don't move in straight lines. Not at all. We move in recursive patterns. And sometimes they're recursive, backward to forward, in pauses, in regressions, in 2 steps forward and 1 step back. If you start the year trying to outpace your reality, your nervous system will revolt. I promise you. You will find yourself flat on your back one way or another, exhausted, depleted, sick, tired, or even blocked. Blocked care, we've talked about in so many episodes of UnMuted Love in the past. A life you love begins with a kind of consent. What is consent? What am I talking about? Or maybe I should say something more like acceptance and surrender to the life you're actually living, rather than the one you keep trying to manifest. You know, it's like pushing this huge human boulder uphill where you never get to the top. You never get to the quote, normal, unquote, because that is not your reality. So let's name something no one says out loud. New Year's highlights everything that feels unfinished. And for parents like you, like me, that can sound like, we should be doing better by now. Other families don't live like this. Why does this still feel so hard? Why aren't we fixing this? Why isn't it going better? Your brain scans the future and sees more demand, more vigilance, more managing, more stress, more work, more trouble. So instead of hope, your body feels braced for the oncoming storm. Let's reframe that, okay? Here's the reframe. The new year is not an invitation to do more. It's an invitation to relate differently to the life you have. Different pace, different expectations, different questions. Not what should I fix, but rather what will support nervous systems like ours impacted by trauma. So this is kind of a radical reframe. Build a life you love with the child you have. Okay, I'm going to get kind of in your face a little. Many of us parents implicitly or explicitly think happiness comes after healing, after attachment shows up, after behavior improves. But deep thinkers, okay, I like to think of myself as a deep thinker, but sometimes I'm pretty shallow. But right now I'm going to go deep. We are realists. We know this. Waiting for life to settle down before you enjoy it is how joy gets postponed indefinitely. A life you love is not a reward for surviving trauma-impacted children. Creating a life you love is about accepting the life you have and learning to love it. Here are some questions you can ask. How do I build moments of aliveness inside a hard season? I think happiness isn't about the absence of struggle, not really. Struggle's part of life, part of growing. Happiness is about being present in the midst of life's struggle and making meaning of it. What in the heck am I talking about here? I am getting a little deep. Well, for me anyway. Hey, I came to know that the struggle to be present with my kids when they were struggling was for the purpose of growing felt safety. I wanted my children to feel safe inside. The struggle to help them feel safe had meaning for me. If you're going to reflect this year, consider better questions. For example, what is unsustainable about the way I'm living right now? Not morally wrong, I don't mean that. Not weak, just unsustainable. What are you doing that makes it impossible to feel good? Here's another question. What can I actually change that will lead to wellness in my family life? How can I quiet the noise? How can I turn down the chaos? How can I stop over-explaining or over-giving or overbooking or over-busyness? I have some practical things I want to suggest you consider to support accepting your reality so that you can live a life you love right this second. A life you love as a trauma-informed parent means fewer fixed goals and deeper anchors. Less fixing, more noticing, less urgency, more rhythm. Maybe it means choosing one place where you start arguing with reality and surrender to what is. Your child doesn't need a new version of you, and you don't need a new child to be happy. Your child needs a present parent, and you need to accept the child you have. Let me leave you with this. The new year doesn't show up as a test of your success of last year, right? It's not A equals you did excellent or F you failed it, folks. The new year is a moment in time where you might intentionally open to acceptance and surrender to loving the life you have. Stop perfecting it. It's good enough already. There's some wisdom in there somewhere. I found it. And it's how lives we love are actually made. I'm so glad you're here. I'm sending all my love to you. Big, big love to you with big, big wishes for a life you love filled with acceptance, understanding, love, and gratitude for all your child from difficult beginnings challenges you to be. Thank you for being here. Your love matters, my dear, dear friends, and we all know more than love is required. I'm wishing you a happy new year. See you in the next episode of Unmuted Love.